everyone, this is a bit of a Flosstube extra. I was, as I was reorganising everything and as I've done a whip parade of what I'm, got in progress and plans of what I'm going to do, I sort of thought, what's in my bag? What bag, you might be asking? It is my bag of finishes. That when I finish projects that I don't know what I'm going to do with, because they're usually too big for me to do anything with, they end up in the bag. Which has reduced down because I used to have 2 bags. So that's good. So I sort of thought, let's have a look and see what's in the bag. Some of these projects go back, actually I've got my first ever cross stitch, which I did 21 years ago now. So I don't know what I can tell you about a lot of them because I haven't got any notes with them. Some of them need a lot of love. They haven't been ironed, nothing like that. They've just been in a bag, and this is my bag. So as you can see, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what they will get put in. So to fit them all, they will get folded up, and so they need some love. They need something done with them. There are some that I need to actually do something with, that I know that I can do something with because they're not big, and I'm like, why are you in the bag? But somehow they just ended up in there. So I've got ones that I know I'm going to be doing something with. They just stay on my work desk, so that when I'm ready to have a FFO session, I've got them there. I'm not having to look to see what I'm going to finish. This is one I have to actually still finish. I've just realised. It's actually a Jodie redesign, and she sent it to me. It's half done, so I need to hurry up and finish the other half. So I'll just flash it because it hasn't been finished. So I'm just going to put that over there. And then these ones, I think I can do something with. So they're going to go over on the other pile, including a ruddy biscornu, right? Where I've done both sides, and I still haven't put it together. Okay, so let's go on with what's in the bag. Now, like I said, I probably won't be able to tell you a lot about many of them. I won't be able to tell you fabrics or anything like that because I never really got into noting anything down until at some point last year. But I'll try and tell you what I can, and if you've got any questions, just comment down below or send me a message. Okay. Meanwhile, grab a cuppa. I should have grabbed some water, but we'll see how we go. Now remember how I'm not overly fond of samplers and stuff. There were a couple that I've got that came out of my granny's things. I'm not sure if it's my granny that stitched them or my mum, or, well, that's the only 2 that would have done it, to have them there. But this is one of them. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I don't want it to stay in the box because this is something that a member of my family stitched, and I don't have anything like that. So I want to do something with that. Just not sure what yet. And then another one that my granny did, and I know my granny did this one. It's just a little one. I don't know if it's finished. I don't think it is. I think there's just a little bit left, but I'm thinking I might actually leave it as is and just frame it or something. Just that one there. What do you think? Should I just trim it off and trim off those threads, or heck, even frame it with the threads in to show where Granny finished off? So I don't know. So if you've got any ideas of how I, what I can do to finish some of these, or I mean, I'm happy for them to be rehomed. If anybody local wants to do something with them, sweet. Because it'll be better than them sitting in a bag. They will need to be washed and all that sort of stuff because I don't do that because I'm always anxious about it. But yeah. And then this one, this was one of the oldest ones that I did, and I ran out of the thread. So there's this little part here. Otherwise, he's all finished except for that. So I'm trying to work out what I can do. I've tried matching threads and I haven't found anything that matches, which is really frustrating. And I can't remember where it's from or anything like that. So if you've got any ideas of where we can find Ted in his boat, please let me know, because I want to try and finish him, because I love teddy bears, so that would be really good. But he was one that I think I did way back in the early 2000s, because I didn't actually start stitching until 2002. So yeah, this is the one and only long stitch I've ever done, and it's with wool, and you'll see something that I don't do anymore because they drive me nuts. Maybe it works better with wool, I don't know. Long stitch with wool, and look, French knots. I did those. Now this was done, it would have been done one of the first ones that I did because it was a kit. And actually, you know, I'm looking at it now in the camera, and actually it is quite cute. So maybe I can try and, I don't know, frame it in a hoop. Do you think? Maybe that's something to look at doing. But it was a kit. I do remember it was a kit. I didn't know it was wool when I bought it. I thought it was cotton, like my first one. And I didn't know it was long stitch either. I just saw the cottage and thought it was cute. So it was a huge learning curve, this one. So this was actually the second needlework that I did of any kind. So this was number 2. Number 1 is this one, and it was, I think it was a dimensions kit. I mean, because that was pretty much all that we could get when I started. You know, that was in my local, I'm not going to say it's a hobby store because Spotlight has a lot of stuff. It's got, you know, bedroom stuff and furnishings and all that sort of stuff, but it does have a lot of fabric and that sort of stuff, and that's where I used to get my cross stitch when I first started. But they didn't have a huge range of kits, but I do remember the majority of them, I think, were dimensions. I can't remember what other brand there was the Mountain Lion. Now I actually came up with this down the bottom. I'll probably just remove all that because that's not what's in the pattern. So just ignore the bottom part. But that was my first ever cross stitch. And I do remember thinking, holy moly, what have I got myself into? Because there was a lot of blending. There were, you know, I had to understand the difference between the full cross stitch and the half cross stitch, or you know, the half stitch, tent stitch, whatever. And then doing the needles and things like that for the long stitches. It was an intensive first lesson, can I just say? But I think he's gorgeous. I do. I just don't know what to do with him. So he's been in a box or in a bag, getting moved multiple times since 2022. Another thing that I said I don't do are samplers. This is the one and only sampler I did, and this would have been in early 2000 as well. I don't know where it's from or who, you know, anything like that, but that's it. A sampler, which looks more like a normal sampler sort of thing. It wouldn't have been a kit. It would have just been me using up, you know, me getting some threads and doing it. This was another new experience for me. I think it's called the Russian house or the red house or something like that. I think it's called the Russian house. It was a Russian design. I can't remember where I got it from or anything like that. But as much as I hate backstitch, I really, really fell in love with this, and I'm actually wanting to do it again. And that's this one. So it's all with a variegated thread, which is beautiful, as you can see. And I just really loved it. So I want to do it in a different colorway. I'm sort of thinking like the blues, like my turquoises, you know, turquoise colors or teals. I want to do it again. It's beautiful. But again, it's been in a box for a long time. These are a few old ones. I actually tried washing them and they bled. So, because I was going to frame them. So there's this one here. These are all little kits. This one here. Have a daisy day. This one. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them because they bled. And the stain didn't come out either. So, and I was going to put it back in, but I was getting quite anxious because they were bleeding. So I'm not sure what to do. So if you've got any suggestions, pass them on. Okay. So these are all like pre 2010. So they've been in a box and moved. They've moved at least 5 times. And I never really knew about, how to look after them and stuff like that. So they were all just always dumped in boxes and with a whole bunch of other stuff and never really put together. This one, I think it's called the sewing room. I'm not 100% sure. But it's during the day. I think it's called the sewing room. It was a kit. I do remember that. Again, in a box. This was a little one, and I'm trying to work out if there's a way that I can turn it into something. Because again, I didn't know about finishing, so I didn't know how close to, how much of a border. And there's a little bit I've tacked down, but I can't remove most of it because it's part of the front, the design on the front. So, and I don't know where I got the design from, but here it is here. It is quite cute. I actually really enjoy doing that sort of thing. I might need to look for some more of those sorts of, if you know what sort of design that is or where it might have been from, can you let me know? Because just this little small design houses, I'd love to do more of these. This one, again, I don't know where I got the design from, but I had a lovely friend in Minnesota, and she had her lovely basset hound called Snickers, who was, her world, and she had a lot of sicknesses and things like that, and we lost her about 10 years ago, and her mom, I had done this for her and I'd sent it over, and when she passed, her mom sent it back to me. So I've got it. So I want to do something special with it. I'm just not quite sure what. So again, any ideas? But these Snickers. These are all, pre-2010. So I got this back, it would have been about 2009. I think she passed in 2000. No, she passed in 2010. And then I got this back. So yeah, so it's a very special one because of the memories behind it. She's a lovely woman, and she had a really hard time in the last 5-10 years. So that one's important. This one wasn't a kit, it was a chart, and it's one of a series of 3, and I think this is number 2, I think. I love dogs. It's a bit of a biggie, isn't it? Hopefully you guys can see that, alright? Let's see if I can close up, there we go, and see if I can actually keep straight as I scroll across. Probably not, you've probably gone all over the place, cat. Yeah, you have. Here we go. So again, see these big ones? It might be the reason why I struggle to complete big ones, because I know that they're going to end up in the bag. I haven't got anywhere for them to go. I don't have the wall space, or the money to go and get a whole bunch of framing done, and I'm not very good at the framing. This one here I do want to do something with, because I had stitched this for my dad, and he had it basically just tacked onto his wall in his house. I'm just wondering if I could maybe turn it into a drum. What do you think? Any ideas are really welcome. I just remember last year was the first year I've ever finished fully finished anything, and that was drums, pillows, flats, and stand-ups. Not even flat folds, just flats. Okay, so just minimal skills and very minimal sewing skills. So please don't tell me about putting them on bags and stuff, because I don't know how to make a bag. If somebody else wants to make a bag and put that on for me, I'd be, they'd be brilliant. Now we're getting up to some of the more modernish ones. So these are like from 2020 to 2021. This is one that I did get. Oh, hang on, I've got one more. Oh my god, this is one that I laid out. I think the Dragon Dream alphabet, and I collected pocket dragons for a long time, and I've still got a nice little array of pocket dragons. As you can see, I've still got my Sherlock Holmes and my Watson. you know, as you can see. So I love pocket dragons, but any of these sorts of things we don't really easily get in New Zealand. So when we get one, it's costs us a lot of money to get it, regardless, because we just don't have them over here. So it's always the free, the shipping on top of it and all that sort of stuff. But I did manage to get a few together, and so I did this. Let me just hang on. I might need to put a thing behind it because it's a little bit bright. Hang on. There we go. There we go. Cat's pocket dragons. And look, I even put beads. This is how OTT I was getting. Oh, crikey, can you see the beads? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I did. It was so much fun trying to get everything centered. I finally worked out, do the biggest word first, Kat, and then go from there instead of trying to do it the other way around. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. And again, it's in the bag. Now we're getting up to 2020 and over. So basically, actually late 2019 into 2020. I still wasn't writing a lot of stuff down. I can maybe give you a little bit more of where I got the info from. Halloween greetings. Now, if I remember or if I can find the designer, I'll just note that down here. I know I got it from Etsy, and I think this was either a 2020 or a 20. I think it was a 2020 finish, or it might have been a 2021. It might have been a 2021 finish. I mean, I have this one ready to do something with. I hadn't quite decided because I've chosen that fabric to go with it. I was thinking of just turning it into a cool little pillow or a flat finish. I haven't quite made up my mind, which is why it went back into the bag instead of staying over there, because I kept on dithering and I kept on having to move it, and I was like, right, okay, into the bag. Same sort of situation with this one here. Okay, there's the fabric I've chosen to go with it. This is from the Witchy Stitcher. A Stitcher Haunts here, and I did this one in 2021. As usual, I pick out my own colours because, that's what I do. The fabric I dyed, it's just 14 count Ada. There's that one. Back in the bag because it's a little too big for me to do my normal. This one I'm not sure why I haven't done something with. So that's the fabric I've chosen to go with it. And this is from the Witchy Stitcher. It's all just a bunch of hocus pocus. This was a 2021 finish. And the fabric is a Jodie Ree Designs fabric, 14 count. And as usual, I picked my own colours. I have the distinct feeling that purple is the 4245 DMC because it's my favourite. So chances are, if it's got a variegated purple, that's what it is. This one was a finish in 2021. It's by Luba Davies Atelier, and I added on the charms and stuff like that. But again, now that I've finished it and I love it, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do with it because it's too big to turn into a pillow, and I don't have wall space for a whole bunch of hanging ones. I suppose I could, but I don't know how to make it into a banner. So yeah, any ideas, let me know, because it's really pretty. If you've added on the charms and stuff like that as well. Little fairy. Because I've got some more quotes to be done, and so however I decide to get, have this done, I'll have them all done the same way. That's why I'm sort of thinking maybe a banner. This is one of my favourite finishes. I love this one. It is by Stitchy Fish. It's called Stitch Witch. And I chose all of my own colours for this. It's supposed to be all in black. It's supposed to be a monotone silhouette sort of thing. And instead, the whole lot is in overdyeds, variegateds, and things like that. And they're all from Jodie Ree Designs. All the threads. Oh, except for that, which I think is like a Krennic. But otherwise, and the reason, it might look like I purposely did the skirt this way, But the reason I did it this way was because when I got to sort of like this point here, I realised I wasn't going to have enough of that colour to do all the way down here. So I thought, right, we're going to start incorporating it as if it's a two-part dress or a top and a bottom, or, you know. And I chose another colour. And that's what you do, you know. You just adapt it and you make it your own. Again, this is a Jody Reeve fabric, I think. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But I love that one. You know, it was I think the first time I've tried, you know, that I had tried using variegated thread in that sort of quantity, and I was so pleased with the outcome. And it's like, and it's in a bag. Tiny Modernist, the Ouija Sow. I didn't do it at the same time as everyone else. I was way behind. I did start. Actually, no, I didn't start with everyone else. I was still late. I was late starting, and I didn't actually finish it until late last year. So here we go. This is Jody Redesigns fabric, 14 count. A bunch of the threads are Jody Ree's as well. Pretty much chose my own colours. I do remember that I made a big mistake down here, totally off counted, so I had to unstitch a lot of this, although fortunately I was just doing all the frames to the points, so it was really only the frames, a little bit of the, you know, of the stitching that I had to undo. And there we go. So I'll try and get from the top down. So I just sort of chose my own colours, and yeah, I did it my way. Any white on there glows. It's all glow in the dark. Oh, except the white down in the graveyard. I don't think I did that in it, but like in the windows, the skull, the moon. No, it wasn't. Was it? Can't remember. It's actually quite cool, isn't it? Okay. Where is it? It's in the bag. But see, when there's such big projects, I really don't have anywhere for them. I mean, I've got the guardian angel that I stitched for my mum. She framed it for me and gave it back to me as a gift. And I want Bellatrix to be framed. And they're both really big pieces, and they'll take up whatever more space I do have. Like one will take up that one, and one will take up that one, because I won't put anything there because the light will get on it. This one was a 2020 finish, and I'm not going to show you the bottom part of it because it's got their name on it. So I will send it over to her. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But this was a sampler that I did for their wedding. It was a design that I got from Etsy. It's hard to see, but that's actually sparkly white for the veil. I'll see if I can, I wonder if I can blur that later. I doubt it. Anyway, so that's what I did. I did make it a little shorter because I didn't want it to be as, because it's supposed to go, so I think over here sort of thing. I just sort of thought, no, just to there, because it's a nice size. And then I just need to work out, you know, what to do with it, whether I frame it or turn it into a pillow for them or something like that. Lakeside Needlecrafts. Now these are a couple of the sales. So there's Spooky Halloween, and I know that there was a sale. Who was it? Stitch Roadie. I think Stitch Roadie was doing a sale with this last year. Actually, I should have a look and see where she got up to. But this is something that I did back in 2020. And again, I didn't keep up with everybody else, you know, but there you go. And I was using, for any of the colour on it, I mean, the Spooky Halloween down the bottom, that is a Threadworks. But for any of the colour, it's all the Sulky Glowies. Was it supposed to be filled up? I've just noticed I may not have actually finished it. Bugger. Language cat. Okay, so here we go. So this is Spooky Halloween. If you have a look, I've just noticed. See, because I was doing it on the orange fabric, I didn't actually notice. But look, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? It's not stitched all the way to the top. even though it looks like it up there. There's like 3 rows. Just gonna pop that aside and get that finished properly. Well, heck. I was thinking, you know, do you think it's something that I could turn into a drum? Because then at least I can make use of it. Because if I do that, if we go like that, I mean, would that be, is that too big for a drum? Do you think? Any suggestions, ideas? Much appreciated, guys. Yeah, because I don't want to keep it in a box. That one or this one, which is again another Lakeside Needlecraft sale. I've actually got all of them. I've only done these 2. This is the Happy Halloween one. The fabric for this one is color. Oh, can I say Color Creative? Creative Color. It's an Aussie one. I can never get the name right. Yeah. Again, I played with the colours, and again I made mistakes on it, but you know. But again, I'm thinking, would this work as a drum? Do you think? Because if it does, then I can take it out of the bag and I can put it over with the others, which I would prefer to do. Oh, don't. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure why I've got this one and these ones in the bag, because I can't. I'm sure they're small enough I can turn them into pillows. So this is Witchcraft by Witchy Stitcher. I chose different colours. This is the same company that makes the other Colour Cascade. It's a Colour Cascade Fabrics. Because I got this piece from her as well. And the white is all glow in the dark. And the dark red, oh actually, and the rest of it, apart from the grey, yeah, so the red and the black are étoile. So that's really cool. But I'm thinking pillow or stand up. Seem dithering. So that's what you guys are gonna help me with, if you can. I Put a Spell on You, again by Witchy Stitcher. I've got a lot of Witchy Stitcher designs, at least I've stitched some of them. I'm thinking a flat finish or pillow. Don't know. But any that I dither over or I have no idea of what I'm going to do with end up in the bag. Usually it's because they're too big, but other times it's just I don't know what I'm going to do with it. This one has memories attached to it because this is the one where I sliced down the side of my finger. I don't know if you saw the episode when I said I was going to attempt to do finishing the next weekend sort of thing. I attempted and I went right down the side of my finger with the rotary blade. And it was while I was trying to cut this blinking thing. This one, I think it was from a Just Cross Stitch magazine. I'm sure it was. I think it was like a 2017, maybe. I finished this one in 2021. So it's Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. I remember the first time I showed this on my first episode, I think it was, and everything was backwards because I didn't know about how, you know, the whole flippy thing. Now I lay me down to sleep, ghosts and goblins were quite a treat. But now it's time to say goodnight, the magic fades with the morning light. Halloween spirits are always near, though the celebration must wait for another year. I loved that poem. I think that's really lovely. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. Back to the bag. Now this one was sort of like a bittersweet one because I had stitched it while I've been at the bedside of my dad in his final week, and I finished it the next week. And I was planning on gifting it to the rest home to thank them, and they declined it. Oh, but that's fine, you know. And in a way, I was glad because I was with him when I was stitching it. But now I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it into a pillow or a wall hanging, or I'm going to frame it. Because I'd asked them would they prefer a wall hanging or framing, and that's when they said no, that's okay. We we'd rather not accept. And I'm okay. It's a Doreen Jones sale. It was the garden sale, I believe. I think it was, or the flower sale. And then I just copied some of the flowers down to here and added thank you at the bottom. So any ideas for this one, which would be more of a memory one? Yeah, that'd be good. And I think it was stitched on. It was stitched on. It's called Cloud Lilac, and it was from Sew It All in Australia. This one is. I'd like to say a Waxy and Moon design. I think it is. No, it's not. Prim Stitcher Shop, maybe. There was a couple of them. So I'll do the big one first. So it came as a set of 2. It's called Midnight Manor. I do remember that. This is fabric from, I think, Lakeside Needle Crafts, I think. So there it is there. Again, the little ghosties are glow in the dark. And I used variegated thread. I believe this was Threadworks. I think it was the 1121, and then that was the 11212. I think. Well, I love that. I think it's really cool. I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. So where is it? It's in the bag. That's right. That's what you're screaming. And then this is the smaller version, or the zoom in on the house. And this one is stitched on 14 count on a piece of fabric that I dyed. Pillow. Crikey, I hope you guys are going to give me some suggestions after all this. Okay, back to the Witchy Stitcher. We've got Beltane. I was thinking of flat finishing these, but then I was sort of thinking, well, if I get all of them and I do all of them, there may be pillows and have like the pillow display and always have the front one being the one that we're in. I don't know, and that's why it's still in the ready bag, even though it's relatively a small one and I can do something with it. But because I've got the 2 and I keep changing my mind how I'm going to do it. Another one by the Witchy Stitcher, Witchcraft. Again, choosing a lot of my own colours, switching out. Well, I do quite often do a portion of designs in the called for colours. There is usually going to be at least one colour, unless it's a kit. There's usually going to be one that's going to get switched out. Don't know what's happening with the lighting. We've got a really hot day here today in Wellington, New Zealand. I've actually got the day off work, so that's why I sort of thought, well, let's get all these things sorted out. Another sampler. OMG. And it's got a ready alphabet on. What the heck was I thinking? But I think the reason was because I had completely forgotten about that old one. It completely slipped my mind because I hadn't seen it for years, that I'd actually done a sampler. So I thought this was going to be my first sampler. I know I got it from Etsy. I keep on thinking something like Primitive Mary or something. But it's called Helga Watts. And this is on a piece of fabric that I dyed. It might be a little bit dark. Here we go. Try and get some light on it. I'm just going to see if... Oh, there we go. Maybe that's a bit better. Oh, look at that. Okay. So there you go. A bit more of a normal looking sampler. You know, Halloweeny, of course. Because, dang it, if I was going to be stitching anything else. This was another kit. Oh my god. I thought it would be lovely. I'm still not sure which is the right way up. Well, I suppose it's a plus that it can be either way. But this is one that I really don't know what to do with because it's such a long one. It's weird shaped and stuff. I don't know what to do. So I'm thinking, is this another drum? I remember, I think it was called something like, Heaven or something like that. But again, I don't know which is the right way up. Whether it's that way. Or that way. Oh, see, now that looks like an island. Doesn't it? So I think it's the other way. Although I quite like it like that because it reminds me of like the New Zealand coast. We're not blue, but it just reminds me of part of the New Zealand coast. Into the bag. As much as I love my coffee, I should have done these as individual squares because then at least I would have made use of them. Because at the moment, there is no way I've got anywhere to put it. It is big. I can't remember the designer. But I know I made a mistake. I know because it was a kit. So I think it was like a Dimensions kit. And it wasn't one that had the threads split up. And because I have difficulty defining colour, like when they're next to each other and stuff, like two greens next to each other, if they're quite close, I can't define the difference between the two. And so there's a couple on here where I've used the wrong colour. I've got them back to front and stuff. But that's okay. But I really think I'd love to do this again, but more as individual ones. So this one can be rehomed or something like that. It is pretty cool. Now, Bothie did the Enchanted series of the Fairy Tale series, and I have done 4 of them, but this is the only one I've got left because the other 3 others have wanted. So they wanted to pay for them and I couldn't come up with a price. I said, just give me another kit. And that's what they did. So, that was the payment. Because they didn't want to just take it. Even though I said, no, just take it because it's nice to know that someone likes it enough that they want to hang it on their wall. But this is called I'm Late. And it's probably my favourite one of the 4 that I did, which is probably why I've still got it, because I don't know, to me that's where the magic started. And yeah, that one I do want to frame, I think. Just a black frame. Like I said, I'm not good at framing or anything like that, so my only thing is that it won't be straight. This one, I really don't know what to do with it. I'm thinking it should be a banner. It's by Primitive Hair. Yeah, and I remember I got the pattern out of a Just Cross Stitch magazine. So the spell store. And I made a lot of changes, totally changed all the colours. So I used variegated all over the place. I made a boo-boo on one of the shelves, but that's okay, it still worked. And I think it's really cool. Thing is, when it comes to using the sewing machine, having to do any line longer than, say, 5 or 6 inches, it goes, yeah, it doesn't go well. So, doing things like banners and stuff, I don't know. Or if you've got any links, because I do remember seeing, I think it was Chasing Alex, on her, I think it was her latest one. Yeah, she had a finish where she had like a banner top, and you just clip it closed, and it's got like little nut thingies so that you can just put the string over it, sort of thing, so you don't actually have to do anything to the back if you don't want to. You just, I don't know, hem the sides or something so that it's nice on the sides. And but I don't know what they're called, so if you know what they're called, I'm in New Zealand, remember, so just keep in mind it's what we've got access to. This one was a kit, I do remember that. Yeah, I think, yeah, so this was a kit. So follow your dreams, for they are the hope for the future. And I do like doing inspirational quoting and stuff like that. I love dream catchers. Absolutely love dream catchers. I used to have a lot of dream catchers. Unfortunately, when my husband and I split up, I couldn't take all my dream catchers. There was nowhere really for them to go. So this is my dream catcher now. It's beautiful. I love the feathers. I wasn't quite sure how the heck the feathers were, supposed to look like they did in the picture, but once I did them, I was like, oh, you see, that's what I wanted. Because I thought when I saw the picture on the front of the chart, I thought there were actual feathers that you attach, sort of thing, because that's what it looked like to me by the photo. Now we're on to 2022. So these might be a bit more familiar to you, and I might be able to actually tell you who the designers were and stuff. So this is Indigo Lane by, oh, for Pete's sake. Is it with Thy Needle and Thread? No. I can see the ready picture of it. You know who it is because you've seen this before. So there's Indigo Lane. And I loved doing this one. I did choose my own colours because, I do. And I just love that blue. So cool. I wasn't sure, when I was stitching the house, I wasn't sure about using the variegated on it. I was a little concerned that it would look too blocky and stuff. But it looks like, I think it works well. So I'm happy with that. Hopefully that's keeping straight on the... No, it's not. Here we go. But I don't know what to do with it. Damn it. The reason this is in the pile, or in the bag, is because I don't know how to do ovals. I don't have any fancy tools to cut anything out, so it's all by eye. It's like doing circles and stuff. That's easier to do because I can look around the house and find something circular and trace it when I need the template to be able to get the shape. But ovals and stuff like that, I don't have die machines. I don't have, anything like that. I make do with odds and ends around the house to do my finishing. And I don't want to make it a square because I've got two to do. One is this one and one is the next one. But this is Stagecoach in the Woods. It's by Wild Violet. And I stitched it on pole stitches fabric, 14 count. I think it's called Midnight Magic. It was supposed to be all in black, but you know me, can't just keep it all in black. So yeah, really nice. And the other one by Wild Violet was Sleigh in the Woods. And again, it's an oval, and I don't... The moon is actually glow in the dark, by the way, so are the stars. But yeah. And then I've chosen a fabric that can go with it, which is that one, to go on the back of it. If I can, I need like a morning somewhere, that's someone with a sewing machine that knows what the hell they're doing. They can do that for me so I can stuff it. This one, I think originally I was intending to make her a stand-up until I added the words, and I was like, well, I can't do the stand-up now. And I'm like, oh, bum. So I'm trying to decide, am I going to make her a flat finish or am I going to make her a pillow? It's Chic Halloween by Madame Chantilly. Oops, try and get some... Oh, it keeps going weird. Sorry guys. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it a bit better. And it's gone again. And again, I've chosen some fabric to go with it when I finally decide what to do. Which is that one. My oldest whip that was finished last year was thanks to Kirsten, who's left us in New Zealand and gone back overseas, which is totally understandable. Hopefully she'll be coming back again. But she's, she's lounging. I think she's, where are you lounging now, Chris? Kirsten? I know, somewhere. But I had gotten nearly all of it done, except for about half the top of the bookcase and the French knots. And Kirsten very generously offered to finish it for me. I keep on, why do I get your name wrong all the time? Oh my god, I'm an egg. Okay, so this is Frederick the Literate. It's a Dimensions cross-stitch kit. It was a nightmare for me to have to stitch on black, but the effect is so lovely, and so worth the time and effort. But oh my god, it was a nightmare, which is why I don't stitch on black. He's gorgeous. That's what I'm missing. I'm missing Leonardo. I have the distinct feeling I've got more finishes somewhere, because I've got Leonardo, who's the artist as well, from pre-2019. Okay, so this is Jeremiah by Finally a Farm Girl. I'm trying to decide if he's going to be a pillow or a stand-up. I'm dithering. That's Jeremiah. And that's why he's in the bag. Grace by Kathy Barrick. I loved doing this one. It was the first time I'd ever stitched anything like this, and I really loved doing it. Again, playing with my own colours, because I always like stitching from, I know I get a lot of threads, you see that with my stash that I get in my haul and all that sort of stuff, but I just like playing with them and not necessarily using them what's been called for. It's like, oh, I've got this one here, I haven't tried this one yet, let's give it a go and see what happens. And so this is Grace by Kathy Barrick. Stitch on 14 count opal. I think it was something like the Terrace from Mystic Fabrics. Crikey, brain dead. One that I decided to not do the entire thing, and that's okay. It's okay not to stitch an entire chart. There's nothing wrong with that. I just decided not to, because already by now it was getting beyond the big size, and if I had to go down another whole panel, yeah, even less chance of me doing anything with. So this is again a sampler, and it is by Joan Elliott. It is called All Hallows Eve Sampler, I believe, and this has been stitched on another of the Mystic Fabrics. I just can't remember the name of it. So again, I flicked in colours. The colouring that's on here is all Jodie Ree designs. So the grey threads and stuff like that, they're all Jodie Ree. I do have some glow in the dark on there as well. But I wanted the witches to be more ghostly, sort of like as a reminder of the past, of those that, not a Salem thing, but, the magic that surrounds us that you don't always have to see. So at least that's my spin on it. So there you go. So All Hallows Eve. So that was finished last year too. Another one of my older finishes, well, of my older starts, it was finished last year, is Derwent Water water wheel. I think, yeah. I was so happy to get this one done. It just kept on going on and on and on. Never ending. Really loved this. It was something, I mean, you know, something totally different than what I would normally stitch, but I still found it enjoyable, you know, a little bit at a time, which is why it took so long. This one is Twin Peaks Primitives. Christmas mill. Old mill at Christmas, old mill Christmas. I'll put the right name for it down there, and of course we've got a little bit of monkey here and there. And yeah, played with colours again. Now, while I may not be a huge Christmas fan, I am a winter fan. I like the winter. I have an easier time warming up than I do cooling down, and today it's starting to get hot in here now, so I'm going to be going to sit in front of the fan for the rest of the afternoon. And weirdly enough, where the temperatures get too high and stuff, my nose starts running like crazy. It's dumb. So stupid. Another Finally a Farm Girl. It is Beulah, my lovely witch Beulah. And I'm thinking I might make her a flat finish so that she can go in on the same shelf as Beulah at her witch's house. That might be an idea. There she is. Beulah's Brew. She's so cool. I love Beulah. Chrissy has done a fantastic job on her characters. You know, Halloween may not be her main thing. She loves her Christmas. I love my Halloween, and can I just say, as someone who loves her Halloween, Chrissy has done a fantastic job in catering to my preference. I've just noticed, you know, and I've seen that there's a few new ones, so my Stitch from Stash thing and don't buy anything for the first 6 months is going to be struggling. It's okay, I've got a wish list that I am adding to. Okay, now this one here I had finished last year, and when I showed it, I decided I didn't like where the spider web was, and I was going to maybe remove it because it was a charm. And I was thinking maybe I should remove it and maybe stitch one, but then when I removed it, I actually didn't want to stitch one. So this is Park Your Broom by Luba Davies Atelier. And it is stitched on, here we go, Woolly Bear by Mystic Fabrics. Don't know what I'm doing with it, but you know, these quotes. Ugh. This one, the reason nothing's been done with it is because I don't like it. Really simple. I wasn't happy with it. I regretted the colour choice of the fabric for it. I just didn't like it. So, but I don't want to throw it out because, you know, I stitched the dang thing. It's just going to sit in a box. It was, the design was from a Just Cross Stitch Ornaments magazine, Christmas ornaments. So if you want it, I just wasn't happy with that. It's probably one of the few that I have literally been absolutely fine if it got caught, you know, if it caught on fire or got damaged or the cat ate it or the dog ate it or something, I would have been absolutely fine with it. I don't think I've ever had a design that I've felt that way about, or a finished project. That's sad. And then the last one that I haven't done anything with, and I don't know what to do with, was the stitch along that I was hosting last year for the Cinnamon Stars Sale by Plum Street Samplers, which started on the 1st of September, and I finished just on Christmas. A little bit behind. Saw a lot of finishes. They looked beautiful, and I finished mine. There was a bit of a break between me stitching on it because I had made a big screw up, and I had to put it in the naughty corner so I didn't damage it. And once it calmed down and picked it back up again, I fixed the error and fudged it enough that I didn't have to completely remove one whole side. And I got it finished, and that's Cinnamon Stars, Plum Street Samplers. But I don't know what to do with it. The only frames I've got are black ones. I don't really have, like, you know, the brown wooden frames and stuff, which I think I don't know. Be cool on the side of a project bag though, wouldn't it? It's like a panel. Oh god, I don't know. So that's it. So that, all of those are what reside in the bag. How many are going to be there at the end of the year? How many will I end up giving away? And how many will I actually figure out what to do with, hopefully with your help? So there we go. So thanks for taking the time to watch. Maybe if you've got any questions, or if you've got any suggestions or tips or whatever, let me know. My contact details will be down below in the info box. I don't think I'm going to do really any noting down there. And depending on my mood will depend on whether I note anything below the what I'm holding up. Okay, this is just like an extra. It's more of a record for me to sort of see what things do I still need to figure out something to do with. But again, I'd love to do big projects, but when they're going to end up in a bag, and I know that, it doesn't make it easy for me to focus on doing them. So there we go. So remember, stitch what you love. Do it the way that you want to do it. March to the beat of your own drum. Thanks for stopping by, and enjoy the magic. Keep well, keep safe, keep warm, keep cool. Just keep you. Toodles. Bye.